soccer moms, soccer dads, wine drinkers, and beer drinkers. Welcome to the Middle Age Moments Podcast, where they discuss everyday topics that your basic bitch,
who are you calling a bitch,
and grumpy ass men, you believe this shit, face daily. Hosted by your favorite imperfect couple, Chad and Erica Jump.
Hello and welcome to the Middle Age Moment Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Chad Jump, sitting with the lovely wife of mine in a Mavericks jersey, Erica Jump.
That's right. Woohoo!
And today, we're bringing you episode 15. It's a monumental moment because 15 is kind of a big number here in Kansas City.
It is. Patrick Mahomes, man.
Well, Tim Tebow made it cool first.
No.
But now we have Patrick Mahomes here locally. And today we're bringing you episode 15. We took a week off again.
Hey, we like taking weeks off. It gives us something more to talk about. I haven't talked to you since last week.
Okay. There might be some truth to that, actually.
No, there's not. You spent a glorious Memorial Day weekend with me. Like, what are we doing now? What's going on now?
Sure did. 3 days, an extra day. But nonetheless, we're coming to you on a Tuesday.
Right.
And hopefully we have this edited and pushed out to you guys tomorrow, which would be Wednesday. And give you something to look forward to listen to while you're getting the kids ready for school or sitting at work wishing you were somewhere else. Or, sitting at the pool, enjoying this hot summer weather now that we have.
I wish I could be at the pool during the week every once in a while. I mean, just like one random Wednesday I could be at the pool. That'd be all right with me.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to, after getting off work today. I haven't, all last year I didn't do our HOA pool. Yeah. And today I was like, you know what, doggone it, I'm going to go up there and I'm going to make a presence. Well, because I have this new defined body of mine.
Oh, yeah, you're 42 pounds lighter.
And so I have this newly defined body. I don't have to go sitting out there in my Kevin James sweatsuit anymore. And so I was like,
sitting in the shade,
looking like a bulldog panting in the heat. But so I was like, you know what, doggone it, I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna show off my 7-minute abs.
Okay.
And then I realized I don't have a key card.
Yep, we had to order a new one today, just so you know it'll be here in 7 to 10 days.
Not only do I not have a key card, I didn't even think. I went up there and looked like an idiot. Everybody's sitting inside, relaxing in their pool chairs because we don't have any. And don't tell HOA.
Yeah.
I didn't want to look like an idiot because I couldn't get in.
Excuse me, just me. I promise I live here. I'd like to get into the pool. I don't have a key card.
Don't mind the creeper guy that's here. Don't just hide your kids, hide your wives. Don't worry about me.
Sir, you don't live in this neighborhood.
Yeah. So anyways, I didn't make it to the HOA pool.
I'm real sorry about that.
So, we'll just go ahead and jump right into what's happening. And so usually what we do is we talk about what's going on with the jump. So
that's right.
I said, hey, what's going on?
So as usual, thank you, Lainey Wilson. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad we incorporated her into our podcast.
Yeah, same.
So the first thing of what's going on with the jumps is the final kid, the final jump, as far as I'm concerned, anyway. The final jump has graduated high school.
Yeah.
And it's a monumental moment for me because before I graduated, my dad was the only jump that had graduated. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
And so, therefore, we had other people that have gone, other grandkids and nieces and nephew that have all graduated, and we have changed the game, so to speak, since the 70s.
Yeah.
I think all, if not the majority, of the Jumps kids and grandkids have now all graduated.
Nice.
And there's still some that need to have graduated still, but nonetheless, it's a very monumental moment. I'm very happy to announce that my son has graduated high school. I'm also very happy to announce that my teaching and being a principal days are officially over. And so therefore I am no longer
You already said we closed the doors on our school once and it didn't happen.
I'm no longer in the teaching or being a principal of any kid. I don't care if they're mine or not. I'm not doing it anymore.
For those of you that don't know, during 2020, Chad and I moved in with each other in February, and then in March, COVID happened. I had a senior in high school. He lived with us full time. We had the first ever school that we did. Chad was the lunch lady and the principal. And
I sure was.
And I was the vice principal and the teacher. So we swore after that we wouldn't do that again. And then now we had our last that went through high school, and we were checking grades and doing things all during the school years. And our school doors, Chad, I think, it's a ceremony for both of us. We are 5 for 5 of high school graduates of our kids, and that's a really great accomplishment.
It's a very good accomplishment.
Yeah.
I think it speaks a lot of a parent that never gives up on their kid.
Yeah.
Despite the differences that you have between your kid and yourself.
Yep.
I know whenever I was a kid that I knew everything. And
just as a kid?
Well, I still know everything, but now I based it off facts.
Oh, I gotcha.
Then I didn't base it off facts.
Gotcha.
But so I certainly can understand, and society keeps changing,
right?
And how we deal with that, and what's acceptable in dealing with that.
Yeah.
And so, congratulations, Thomas, for graduating high school, and we're
very proud of you.
We certainly look forward to what life brings ahead of you. I know that you're already enrolled into college, and we look forward to seeing what goes before you after that.
Yeah.
So, one of the things with that graduation, we actually went to the graduation despite the rumors. The rumors were that I didn't even attend my own son's graduation, which anybody that knows me knows that I'm going to be there for my kids if I can, and especially if they choose to want me to be there.
Sure.
So, I'm never not, and I don't think that I've ever given any indication as to a reason why I wouldn't show up. So for the rumors to be even in question, to me is quite stupid.
Yeah.
And to be, how do I say, belittled for your assumptions, I think is dumb. But make no mistake, we were there.
Yeah.
We got our programs to prove it. We got our pictures to prove it. So not that we owe anybody an explanation, but we have all the proof. If you'd like to see it, we would be glad to show it to you. All you have to do is call or text, and one of us two would be glad to prove that to you. But no, the graduation was quite cool. It was and it was actually in the Mavs hockey facility, which we're very well known. We actually have sat in every seat in the stadium,
pretty much.
And so we kind of knew where we wanted to sit, right?
Yeah.
Conveniently, it was a section where there's just two seats. So we didn't have to worry about getting up and getting around and people getting in our way.
It was really nice.
And so it was very convenient. And it was also a very convenient escape route, too. So, we didn't
excuse me, pardon me.
We knew how to get out of there without any problems.
Yeah.
And just because we didn't see you doesn't mean the fact that we weren't there.
Right.
But so we did a very good job. We actually thought it through where we wanted to sit and things like that.
Yeah.
I will say, for a graduation class of, I think it was 515.
Yes, 513.
I feel like they got through it relatively quickly. I think they're getting good at this, getting through the 500 and 600 and 700.
I've never been to a Missouri graduation ever. Like, I've always been to Kansas graduations, and this is my first Missouri and my first Missouri high school graduation, right? I didn't realize they weren't going to be in alphabetical order. That was
they weren't in alphabetical order. They were based off of homeroom, which was confusing to me.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I thought it was quite comical. We were sitting there, and they were saying, like, if you're the parents of these people that got your son or daughter through high school, please stand up. And I kind of giggled when I saw some of the people standing up, because they were actually kids that claimed to have
Thank you very much.
claim to have raised the kid that's graduating. So I found that quite comical. And I couldn't help but chuckle at it. But
he had a lot of the audience stand up. Did you notice that? Like, if you're a this, stand up. If you're a this, stand up.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, if you didn't stand up the whole time, you're looking around thinking,
yes, I you know. But anyway, I thought it was quite nice ceremony. I thought it was nice and quick. I thought it was short and to the point.
Yep.
But nonetheless, like I said, congratulations, Thomas. We're all proud of you,
Yeah.
and the ones that didn't make it, they're also proud of you, whether you want to believe that or not. So anyway, the next thing we have is what's going on with the jumps, which is, to me, is, if you were in the moment, it would sound a lot funnier than it really is, because Erica's phone gets stolen after her jazzercise, and this is all my fault, which I found out. Because I literally asked her, I was like, hey, can you stop by and get some milk and a few other things? And she's like, sure.
All right.
And so she stops off at a Target here in just down the street, and because I shined her car up too much, because I had buffed it and cleaned it and basically Windexed the entire outside.
It looked really nice.
On top of me asking her to get milk, I got blamed for having her car too clean, which made her car get broke into.
So the deal is I've been to this Target 1,000 times. It's on my way home. It's right near my old office. That Target, I would consider, besides the one on 151st, this is my second Target, right? We all have our Targets, our Price Choppers, our things we go to. I feel pretty safe at this Target. Well, when I leave Jazzercise, my clothes are soaked, right? Because I'm sweating. And my seat behind me gets soaked. And you had just done such a nice job cleaning the car. I was like, man, I just don't want my seat to be all wet and stink, right? So I cracked my window like this much, Chad, this much. And I parked.
Which, by the way, that's a lot.
This is a teeny tiny bit.
No.
Yes. So
Trust me.
And the only reason that I went to Target was because I needed to get hangers, because I would have just stopped and got milk a quick trip or whatever. And so I was like, I'm just going to leave my phone where I always leave it, and I'm going to go in to Target. I'll be in there 10 minutes. And 10 minutes, that's seriously all that I was in there. So I come out and I noticed that my insurance card's laying on the ground. And I was like, that's weird. Like, my insurance card must have fell out of something. And then I look for my phone, and my watch tells me my phone's been left behind. Well, anyway, I knew when my watch gave me the signal that my phone had been left behind, it wasn't in my car anymore. And so then I drove home as quick as I could, which I was crying. I did tell the inside people that my phone got stolen.
It was funny.
It was not funny.
She comes home with crocodile tears down her face, but she had this ugly face with crocodile tears, and she's like, my phone got stolen. I'm like, okay, well, let me just shut it off real quick.
Yeah, you were like the emergency personnel responding. You were just like, click, 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 click. Okay.
I'm the person on the other end of the phone if you're calling the operator, calling it in. Like, calm down, man.
Yeah.
Just stay with me.
And
I'll be right there.
Call Harrison, and he was like, oh, yeah, I can see it. It's okay. Yeah, the location got shut off. Like,
it's at a you break it, you fix it place already within minutes. Like, trying to get it jailbroken so they can get this brick undone.
Yeah.
They were closed on Sunday.
So the joke is kind of on them, because my phone is very old, and it also had a broken screen. And every time they went to go do something to that phone, you know whose face they had to look at when they picked my phone up every single time until they got it wiped?
Big Chief.
You and Chief. And I was like, ha, Chad jumps staring you in the face every time you turn that phone on.
Yeah.
So the people at Verizon were really nice, even though I was pretty upset. Chad was like, just give her a phone. Just give her a phone. She just wants a phone. We just want out of here.
They
And
were trying to upsell us, which was driving me crazy.
And the lady was like, you're good. You're good for an upgrade. Blah, blah, blah. Your phone is. I was like, just give me a stupid phone and get me out of here. So.
Yeah. So, which is not, it's not really uncrazy. I don't think that's a word, but
it is not.
It's not really crazy to think that your car got broken into, because my truck had actually gotten broken into in that same area, which I actually had a gun taken out of my console of my truck.
Yeah, that's scary.
And I called the police station and said, hey, my truck was broken into, a gun was taken out of my truck.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, well, just
thanks for calling.
Just go ahead and drive on to the police station and file a charge.
Yeah.
And so, I was like, okay. I was like, but if I move my vehicle, won't it be tampered? And they were like, no.
Yeah.
They were like, absolutely not. You can just drive on in, file the complaint or whatever.
Terrible advice.
Here's what happens. I do exactly as the Kansas City Police Department says.
Yeah.
I drive over to the Kansas City Police Department.
Yeah.
I walk up to the window.
Yeah.
I said, hey, I'm the one that called and said my gun got stolen. They were like, did you drive the vehicle over here? I go, yes, they told me to. And they were like, whoever told you to do that told you wrong. And I go, what do you mean? They go, well, you can't move your vehicle because it's tampering with the vehicle. I said, I literally asked this person on the call. And it's probably recorded if you go back and listen to it. I was like, I still would like to file. And they were like, we can't do anything. You've already tampered the vehicle. So guess what happened?
What?
No, nothing was done. I couldn't file anything because the vehicle was tampered. So guess what happens if somebody happens to shoot somebody with my gun?
Oh, that's terrible.
Murder was the case that they gave me.
Terrible.
Because the gun is legally registered in my name.
Yeah, that's real bad.
So if somebody happens to get shot with my gun because of the Kansas City Police Department, I'm going to get charged with murder. How dumb is that?
You'll have an alibi. I take pictures of us all the time. You'll have an alibi.
Granted, that was years ago, so far so good. But I mean, that's how stupid. They literally told me to come in. It's recorded. It's a recorded call.
Yeah.
And they told me to come in, and then I did exactly what they told me to. When I get there, they said that I can't file because I tampered with the crime scene or whatever.
I didn't even file a police report.
And it was in that same area that you were at.
The only thing I was kind of bummed out about is that, and let this be a word to the wise, I hadn't backed my phone up since 2021.
Yeah, so you were getting 2021 text messages for the very first time.
Yeah, we weren't even married at that point. And so it's just kind of funny, where we left off talking. I almost took a screenshot.
You didn't even get our wedding text messages or pictures or anything. So
no, all that's backed up. All that.
Yeah, thanks to Google Photos, that's all backed up.
But I mean, the transition was pretty seamless, but still, it's so frustrating trying to get everything set up. The only thing that I don't have set up are a few of my apps, so my shopping apps. So I'm going to have you help me with this because I can't figure them out.
So the next thing of what's going on and the final thing is, if you haven't followed us on social media, you will all know quite quickly that we have been deep in the weeds.
Oh, yeah. And the pocketbook.
At the Kansas City Mavericks hockey team's games. Because you know what? Because they're playing in the championship.
They're incredible, Chad.
Starting next week.
Ugh.
And so, we kind of took to this hockey thing this year for the very first time.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a very non-biased, non-committal hockey fan. And
I was none at all.
And so
but here I sit wearing a jersey.
28 games later.
Right.
And over $5,000 probably.
No. It wasn't that much.
$3,000.
Wasn't that much.
It definitely was $3,000.
Okay.
$3,000 later, we are vested.
We're not sponsors.
And the only thing that we don't have right now is a middle-aged moment sponsorship with the Kansas City Mavericks.
True.
But I will tell you what being a Mavericks fan is kind of like right now. And for the mothers and the kids out there and even the guys, if you were a Kansas City fan, Royals fan in 2014
yeah.
and 2015, and you remember every player's name of the World Series team, that's what it's like to be a Mavericks fan, because every person that goes to that arena feels that experience. They feel the Hosmers, the Moose, the Lorenzo Canes, the Wade Davises, Danny Duffys. Everybody can associate themselves with this team, and it's very cool to watch, because to be a sports fan in Kansas City right now is pretty cool, because
we don't have a losing team.
Obviously, right now we have the Royals, which are competing for first place almost every week.
Yeah.
They're the third or fourth favorite to win the World Series right now. And then Sporting Kansas City, they always win. Then we have the Current, which has got one of the best women's records in soccer.
Yeah.
And then we have the back-to-back defending champions Kansas City Chiefs, which is going for the three-peat. And then we got a hockey team that nobody saw coming.
No.
This is the very first time they've ever even been this far in the playoffs, and they're playing for a championship. So imagine, if you would, Titletown. You have hockey winning champions, you have soccer winning champions, you have baseball winning champions, and you have football winning champions. And well, I mean, if you want to throw Kansas basketball in, which I don't want to, but
we're not talking about college sports.
We have a town full of champions. Like, there's not very many cities in the United States that can say they check off all the boxes for every sport with a champion. And right now, that's what we're experiencing. So we're so excited to be a part of it. We're well vested into it.
Yeah.
And we're enjoying the ride, and it may not last forever.
Cheap. It's cheap too for a family to go out there. Like, it's really cheap. If you're even the playoff tickets have only been $25 to $30 a piece, and parking's free. Like, you can't now.
Parking's free is a huge bonus.
Yeah, and this summer though, you even think about it, like parking to go to the Royals game, you couldn't take a family of four for $120. You couldn't take them out there and do that. I mean, you could probably last year when tickets were so cheap, but not this year.
Yeah, this year the Royals tickets are going to go up through the roof, especially as we get
crazy, right? Yeah.
And which, by the way, we do actually have at least one Royals ticket this year.
Yeah.
Which happens to be a monumental game.
It's going to be so fun. Number 15.
We have Mahomes bobblehead night.
Yeah.
Which happens to be one of the hottest selling tickets for the Royals game right now.
I did not know that when we got them.
Well, thank you to the vendor that gave them to us. So anyway, let's move on to...
Okay.
That's hot. 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 This is hot.
So thank you, Paris, for bringing us That's Hot. So we're gonna come over a few things of That's Hot, and some of it.
Did you say comb over?
It's the story of my life. Have you seen my hair? Like, well, maybe some people haven't, but I've been combing over my hair for quite a while.
No.
But we're gonna go over a few That's Hot topics, and some of them are huge hot topics and quite controversial.
Oh,
and some of them I just felt like needed to be discussed.
Okay.
So the very first one, we're gonna hit it out of the park right off the bat, which we brought up in a previous episode.
Yeah.
Harrison Butker's speech.
Oh boy.
So Harrison Butker has been getting a lot of backlash for his, how you say, commencement speech to
at Benedictine College.
At Benedictine College.
Yeah.
And about the women's role in his eyes of the women's role, and then he's been getting a lot of backlash of like, so that Pat Mahomes was asked, does he agree with it? Andy Reid was asked, does he agree with it? The NFL said they don't want anything to do with it.
I bet not.
He does not represent our values.
I bet not.
Travis Kelce, I love the guy to death. He's a great person, but I do not support his values.
Yeah.
Chris Jones, that's my dog, so, everybody's kind of like in dilemma. And you know what? This kind of brings me to, it's kind of personal for me, which is why I bring it up first. Because I deal with this in my own life. I have family members. I have friends that have distanced themselves from me because I don't agree with their opinion and I don't agree with their values. And, just because a kid graduates high school, does that mean that I'm supposed to support them for the next 10 years if they decide to go to college? No,
Yeah.
I don't believe that's the case. I think that they have to learn and earn their way and appreciate the hard work and dedication that goes to it. So just because my parenting style is different than your parenting style, or my beliefs is different than your beliefs, doesn't mean that you're wrong. That doesn't mean that I'm right.
Yeah.
That just means that I choose to do things a little different than you.
Yeah.
And in society, we should all agree at least on one thing, and it's okay to disagree.
I agree very much.
So
Whoa, I don't disagree. I agree.
if anything that this Butker thing has done, right, especially for our local community, is to open our eyes and allow us to agree to disagree. And in society, I think that is one of the big. This isn't even a political issue.
No.
This is we can get in the weeds on political issues of disagreeing.
No, that's not who we are.
But I think that
we're here to have fun.
I think that we should all understand, like, it's okay to agree to disagree.
Yeah.
And just because I don't agree with you doesn't mean I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And that also doesn't mean I'm right.
Yeah.
Same thing can be said vice versa. And, looking from his point of view and some of the things that he said, obviously I don't agree with. I do think it's funny, but I don't agree with it.
Oh, geez.
I think it's funny that somebody would say that out loud at a graduation.
Chad, though, he was in the right place because typically the people that are there it's a private Catholic college. And so Catholics believe a certain way, and maybe they're devout, strong, like they're really vested in their beliefs, or maybe they're just Catholics, right? But I think obviously I have a job, right? I'm not making you dinner every night. Like, I'm not who Harrison Butker thinks in his mind he is married to, and that's okay. Like, so what? Go kick the ball. Like, that's how I felt about it.
As long as you make the kick,
yeah,
say whatever the hell you want.
But he got asked to be there because he is a Catholic.
And I'm sure they knew his views and knew what he was going to say before he said it. So the school apparently agreed with it.
Yeah.
And so
I don't think they proofread his speech.
Well, they probably didn't proofread it all, but nonetheless, they had a short synopsis. And I'm not Catholic, so I can't tell you how the Catholic people think. No different than they can tell me how I think.
Butker jerseys are flying off the shelves right now,
which is weird to me, right?
It's strange.
It's weird to me because it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Somebody goes against society.
Yeah.
And then their popularity goes through the roof.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So good for Butker, but most importantly, like my take is it's okay for us to disagree.
Yeah. Sure.
And I'm living that in my own life.
Yeah.
Is we have one side that's dead set and their way of thinking is the way of life. And I'm dead set in my way of thinking and my way of life. But the thing is it's okay for us to disagree. And until you can live with that, then we're always going to have problems.
Yeah.
So the next thing that we have, which to me is kind of important to me, which is why I put it in here, is the PGA golfer Grayson Murray committing suicide.
Yeah.
As many probably know, and those that you don't know, you can go look on YouTube. You can search my name; it's right there. I leave it available for anybody that ever wants to listen to my story. Suicide's a real thing, and I've experienced it with my father. I've experienced what I always thought growing up was selfishness. I always said suicide is selfishness. But until you experience depression in a deep form, you will never understand what's going through somebody else's mind. And I always tell people, like, talk to them like it's the last time you're going to talk to them. Because you don't know what that person's going through that day.
Very true.
And so for somebody to assume something without confronting that person one-on-one, or distance himself from something or someone without knowing what that person's going through, that person might have just needed to hear your voice.
Yeah,
And
it's very true.
And instead you chose the opposite way, or to how do I say, deflect energy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right word, but you chose to distance yourself when really that maybe that person needed to hear from you that day. And you chose to not do it.
I had a really close friend. He had cancer, and so I know in situations sometimes when people have a terminal illness like he did, that makes them want to just be gone and just be out of their pain, right? And he did not commit suicide, but he said he got very close. And he said, sometimes when somebody calls you and it's not typical for people, honestly, my phone doesn't hardly ever ring anymore. People text me. But if somebody calls me, he said, if you see a call from somebody you don't normally see a call from, or maybe it's somebody you do, and that's just out of character for them, he said, always pick up the phone, because you have no idea if they're just reaching out because they need to hear somebody's voice. And honestly, Chad, it doesn't cost anything to just be kind.
It doesn't.
Right?
It doesn't. And you know what? I mean, I have acquaintances, friends, whatever you want to call them, on social media that look from afar like a total train wreck. Yeah. And there's been times that I've reached out to them like, you good, bro? Like, life's hard, because life is hard. It is. You don't know. And like I said, you don't know what that person's going through. Yeah. And so to just blow it off and pretend like it's not there. Yeah. Suicide's real. And and from a person that has lived it, that has went through it, that has went through therapy, that has shared his story, which, like I said, you look it up. I have it shared on YouTube. I am not ashamed of it. Yeah. If I always, when I did that video, I looked at it as, if I can just help one person, that video did its justice. Yeah. And because it costs nothing to just be kind. It costs nothing. And so, and instead of just kicking somebody when they're down and continuing to pile on, maybe you should just look back and agree and try to be the better person. And Grayson Murray was pretty public about his struggles. And, I don't know if you've watched very many of like the clips and stuff that he talked about how he struggled. And, and not to say like you can go and save everyone, right? That's not what I know that's not what you're trying to say. No. But it's saying that you could try to at least help. Right. And I did a training class probably 2 or 3 months ago, and they trained us on like things to say to somebody if you think they're in a bad spot. And they're really simple things. And not that would have stopped what happened with Grayson. We don't know. It might have. You just don't ever know. But at least you don't have to be the opposite, right? You can, like I said, just be kind. So. Yeah. And for those of you that don't believe that it's not a selfish thing, those thoughts come back even after you went through it once already. They don't just go away. Like, certain things can easily trigger those thoughts again. Yeah. But the difference between then and now is how to deal with those things. Yeah. And so you do what you can to get through it. So it's a sad deal. He
had a lot going for him. 30 years old. He had a lot
going for him, and it just goes to show you that money isn't everything. And the guy worked his ass off to be in the PGA, and he wasn't the number one player in the world. But you know what? He was playing a game at one time that he loved, that he turned out not to love it anymore. Yeah. And so all I'm saying is taking consideration of what the other person's going through
Agreed.
in a conversation, whether that be at work. You don't know. You just don't know. And so just take in consideration and move on. But so the next thing we have, and that's hot, is the great Graceland was actually in the midst of getting foreclosed on.
How?
Well, it's in Memphis, and nothing surprises me. But so apparently there was a fraud, so some fraud going on. So this is not uncommon. So we've actually seen commercials on TV with title loan frauds, right? And it's really easy to get a title loan fraud. Thank God the title company actually said something and caught it, because a lot of smaller title companies normally would have just pushed it through, right?
Yeah.
And so title fraud is becoming a bigger deal than I know than I've ever known, because I've seen local news that an Oriental couple here lost 2 properties without even knowing that they lost them due to title fraud. And so for Graceland to be in foreclosure due to some forged signatures, which is crazy.
Elvis is alive.
Which is crazy to me. It's so crazy that Graceland, somebody would actually go after Graceland with a fake signature.
Who are you? Elvis Presley, obviously.
I'm the hound dog he was talking about. So
I told you I was still alive. Now give me that loan.
It's so crazy to me. So I don't know all the details. I know that Lisa Marie Presley is saved it. And so therefore it's not going to be foreclosed on.
That's good.
But yeah, so some 5th cousin that forged the signature. I think we're in good states. We're going to be able to keep Graceland going. But
boy, I
thought it was kind of funny to mention, so I put it in That's Hot. But anyway, and also to bring attention to title fraud. It's real. And
it's crazy.
You can actually buy a service to prevent title fraud. What it is, I don't know. We'll have to look that up. But and then the final thing, which is near and dear. How do I do this?
Chad, like this.
Oh, there we go.
There
we go. How do I do this? Is near and dear to my heart.
This is for Taylor Swift, though.
This is my Taylor Swift.
I know. Anything you dream of just arrives in the mail. I don't even know what happened.
My shirt is not the ultimate Taylor Swift shirt.
It is very cool.
I actually wanted to buy 2. Right? Do you want to know why I wanted to buy 2?
Why?
Because I wanted to cut the sleeves off and make it a workout shirt too, so I can show my muntnals and show off my birds from Taylor Swift.
Okay, it's lovely, Chad. It's really lovely.
So far,
we both own a Taylor Swift shirt now.
I know. I'm so happy. I can't. I'll probably wear this more than you wear. This might be my new concert shirt for 2024.
Oh, yay!
Yeah, yay for the people that get to. I'm getting rid of "Sounds Gay." I'm in shirt. This is my new concert shirt.
Okay.
So the next biggest thing is my girl, Lainey Wilson. Not only won a shitload of CMA awards,
no doubt,
but she got invited to the Grand Ole Opry by who? Reba,
yeah.
And I think that...
Do they call you with every bit of Lainey Wilson news? Does her publicist reach out to you and is like, "Hey, Chad, we're getting ready to do..." Oh, you already know. Yep. Okay. Yeah.
Opening a bar, Grand Ole Opry.
We got
won a bunch of CMA awards.
Lionel
Richie and Luke Bryan told her no.
Lainey Wilson calls her boyfriend, or is it her boyfriend or husband?
Calls me.
Oh, she calls you. Yeah. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Her people call your people, and obviously, I did not know how that worked. But man, you sure
by now Lainey Wilson knows about Chad Jones.
Yeah, I bet she does. I bet she has a piece of paper that has your name on it.
Probably. So she gets invited to the Grand Ole Opry, which that's an elite company. There's not a lot of people that. I remember when Luke Combs got invited to the Grand Ole Opry. I thought that was a cool big deal.
Yeah.
But
was he wearing a black shirt?
Yeah, it was definitely a black Columbia PFG fishing shirt, which we have 3 of them. But anyway, it's a big deal. Lainey Wilson gets invited to the Grand Ole Opry. Congratulations to Lainey.
Yay!
And so now we're going to move on to our topics, which this episode is going to be a little different than
Oh boy.
our previous episodes.
Why is that?
We're going to be a little bit more informative this time.
We are going to have actual facts on this?
We're going to be, and you guys can even fact check this.
What?
So
This was just a bunch of random crap we talked about.
no, we're not just going to be an opinionated, tell stories, podcast. We're going to be informative at times. We're going to be more informative than CNN and MSNBC and Fox all together.
Getting facts out was not in my contract negotiation, so.
Well, the good news is I've done all the research.
Oh, woo!
And
I just have to sit here.
And I've done all the fact checking. So
Okay, good.
this episode, we're going to kind of bring it back to where it all began, like at least in our generation, because that's what we're talking about, right?
Okay.
We're not talking about the 70s. We were just born in the late 70s.
Right.
So let's talk about when things were like brought to revolution. And so
a revolution was in the 70s?
Yeah. It was called the reality revolution.
Oh, in the 90s. A reality
90s,
revolution. Yeah. I gotcha.
So, obviously, what we know now is TikTok and Reels.
Yes.
And things like of such nature.
Yep.
Right?
Vines.
Videos, the Vines is coming back.
Yeah. Snapchat.
So
Facebook Live.
Imagine a world
okay.
where none of this existed.
Oh, I remember that world.
Well, oh yeah, were you doing keg stands at a party like I was?
No, I was not, because I was a good child.
Without getting videoed? You were skipping school. What do you mean you were a good child? You were skipping school having parties.
Right.
So, but imagine a world where there was no cameras. There was no video.
It was wonderful.
All we did was whatever the hell we wanted.
Yeah.
And suffered the consequences. And the only thing that they knew was...
there was a story, maybe.
Is we were home late.
Yeah.
They didn't know anything else.
No.
But in the 90s, that all changed.
Oh.
So one of the first things that changed, obviously, was a dadgum 8mm camera was invented. So your dad's out here making home videos, right?
Yeah.
Flip phone cameras were also created.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You had the old Nokia camera. You know, the ringtone.
Oh, is that the sound that it made when you took a picture?
Yeah, it was the old Ericsson aerial.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then this time, between the 8mm cameras and the flip phones, what did everybody start doing?
Recording every single thing that they could.
They started documenting their lives, right? And when you document your lives,
yeah,
you're able to capture raw footage.
Yeah.
And when you capture raw footage, what is the first thing you think of that you should do in the 90s once you capture it?
Well, you're talking about like something really funny?
You send it to America's Funniest Home Videos.
Yeah.
Because you want to get paid. Right? Because you don't want to just sit in your house and not get paid for it.
I mean, this is gold. Everyone has to see it.
Yeah. So what you do is you take the funniest thing that you have and you submit it to Bob Saget.
Oh, man. Bob
And you pray that Bob Saget reads off your video. Right?
Yeah.
So in the 90s, between 8mm cameras and flip phones, that's what the world was doing. They were sending small clips of people getting punched in the balls.
Yeah.
Or,
tables flipping over.
Yeah. Whatever they could find and submitting it to Bob Saget and America's. Did you watch America's Funniest Home Videos when you were a kid?
America, this is you. Bum, ba, bum.
So.
Yes.
My family was America's Funniest Home Videos freaks. Like, it was right on after, maybe even before The Simpsons.
Yeah.
And did you know that America's Funniest Home Videos was actually a Japanese company that created it?
And they named it America's Funniest. Okay.
Brilliant, right?
Right. Stupid America.
You want to hear something ironic?
Yeah.
China.
Yeah.
Is the founder of TikTok.
Yeah.
which guess what is now the new America's Funniest Home Videos.
That's right. It's probably like a.
You're welcome. I just totally mind blown this whole show.
It's generational. You get a reality show. You get a reality show.
I just totally mind blown everybody.
I know. Who knew?
Fact check me. Japanese company own America's Funniest Home Videos. Chinese company owns TikTok. Coincidence?
No.
I think not.
No.
They realize how dumb we are, I guess. They're really good at spotting ignorance. So the other thing that had came out was a different form of reality.
Okay.
So we're on this reality revolution, right? So we
Yeah.
started with the
Yeah.
camcorder.
We're just taking videos of funny
Taking
things, chairs
Being
breaking,
funny.
right? Yep.
Now we've taken reality TV to a whole nother level. You know what came next?
What?
Bad boys, bad boys.
No.
What you gonna do? Cops came out.
Oh yeah.
And then we gave the first purest reality TV show ever made. And the only reason the show was made, do you want to know why?
Why?
Is because during that time there was a writer's strike. And the show was actually pitched many times over.
Yeah.
And the show was not approved. Nobody was going to pick up the show. But because of the writer's strike, the show was picked up.
The writers.
And
Okay.
therefore, which recently just happened as well. And
I know.
we picked up some other dumb shows because of a writer's strike.
Right.
But so Cops was only brought on. It was pitched before. It was turned down.
Yeah.
And it was brought on because of the writer's strike.
That's crazy.
So the first time it aired, I think it says it aired in '89, but it didn't get millions of viewers. But in '91, it got millions and millions and millions of viewers. The problem is just like our media and television now, people started figuring out that the shows were cherry picked.
Oh.
And
yeah.
What made them know that it was cherry picked was, if you remember the riots in South Central, which is a Sublime song, the Rodney King beating was shot by
somebody on
America's Funniest Home Videos person.
Yeah.
And was given to a news outlet and shared across the world uncensored.
Yeah.
And therefore the questions became, were the cops footage handpicked by the police? And the answer ended up being it was. So it always
didn't like that show, Chad.
It always made it captured 95 million viewers.
I didn't like
during
it,
its tenure before the Rodney King beating. It captured 95 million viewers on the night that it showed. 95 million is a lot of people.
I know, but I didn't like it. And I didn't like it because, like, I know...
You were afraid that you knew somebody that was going to be on there?
No. But I know that there are bad people out there, like, all over, right? There's always people out there trying to... I mean, there wouldn't be police and whatever if there wasn't. Well, but that really, like, put it in your face that, like, there's people, like, they'd be like, oh, this is a good neighborhood, but this area, blah, blah, blah. And it made you... I was only, like, so 91, 13, 14, and I still don't like those, like, type of shows where there's violence, and so I was not all about that at all, so I didn't like it. Sorry.
So anyways, once it had 95 million viewers in its prime.
Yeah.
On one night, right?
Yeah.
And so once the Rodney King beating came out, and it showed the society that the clips that were picked for the cop show was handpicked, which obviously when you handpick shows, what happens? It makes the cops always look like heroes and the people always look like villains.
Yeah, for sure.
And so therefore a lot of people tuned out of watching Cops because the reality was it wasn't reality anymore.
Yeah.
It was scripted reality.
Yeah.
Which we have now. Duck Dynasty.
Sure.
The McBee's is scripted reality.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of scripted reality. So if anything, Cops it was the first scripted reality TV show.
Yeah.
And then the next thing we have, which was huge, helicopter video was introduced in 1991.
Yeah.
So we weren't here in Kansas City and Lewisburg, Kansas, and Cleveland. We weren't introduced to helicopter video, but I do remember when I had the big satellite dish that had to turn certain ways in order to pick up, satellite 113 and 110.
Yeah.
I remember like it was yesterday. In 1994 is probably the biggest car chase that I've ever witnessed.
Oh.
And it was the longest car chase at 45, 55 mile an hour on a 60 mile an hour or 60 mile chase. It was 45 mile an hour to 55.
Yeah.
60 mile chase. That's an hour.
Yeah.
One would, if you do the math, it would be an hour. But it was actually longer than that because they were going slow.
Yeah.
It was the very first helicopter capture.
He was not in a hurry.
It was the very first helicopter capture seen nationwide. The first one was in 91. 94 was the first one seen nationwide. Do you happen to know who that was?
O.J. Simpson. Come on. I know that fact.
The Juice was the very first helicopter capture nationwide in 1994.
How crazy.
Do you want to know how many viewers it captured?
How many?
90 million.
That's crazy. I do
Maybe
remember,
even 95.
I do remember watching that one now. I do remember, can you believe? And the people on the freeway that had signs.
Yeah, go Juice.
Yeah, who? What? He's coming this way. Give a sign, make a sign, make a sign.
I remember it was yesterday because I remember
it wasn't. It was almost.
It was 94. It was
almost 30 years ago.
But I remember it was yesterday. It was the very first time it was introduced. It was new, so it was cool.
Yeah.
And so
let's get some more of these chases going on.
You're watching oh man, is he gonna get? Nobody's getting away from a helicopter.
None.
Nobody.
No.
And so, but you didn't know that then.
No.
And so you're seeing these cars, and they're all in V formation and different formations, and they're not even really trying to knock them over because it's OJ, right?
Right.
And
we don't want to hurt him.
He's not going fast. He's not hurting anybody. He's not putting anybody in danger.
Because he already did.
And so, we don't know that. The glove, which leads me to my next thing. Court TV was introduced in 1991.
All these things.
Which was before the OJ trial, but you know what? Nobody remembered that. Nobody even knew about Court TV. No. Do you know why?
Why?
Because OJ didn't make it famous until 95.
Man, the thing
there was one trial that was actually a pretty big trial, which was when the spike of the viewership went up.
Yeah.
It was the Menendez brothers.
Chad, they had so much hair. They had so much hair, and they had such good fashion. I mean, I know they're murdered.
Actually, I know this is going to sound really weird.
Okay.
Throughout my fact finding about this whole podcast, I actually went back and watched the Menendez brothers trial in its entirety.
Ew.
Those dudes were freaks. They were something else.
Yeah.
And the things they said.
Yeah. I don't
think they did themselves any justice.
The one guy wore a pink sweater to court. You don't wear
a
pink sweater.
So the Menendez brothers were the first ones. They captured millions of viewers a day.
Yeah.
But OJ made it even bigger.
Kardashians, the first Kardashian reality
95,
show.
95 was when Court TV really spiked, right?
Yeah.
Because of OJ. And I remember in my high school class or junior high class or whatever it was.
95, we would have been in high school.
Freshman, yeah.
Yeah.
And so we were doing mock trials in our class based off of what we saw on Court TV. We had to take the evidence that was seen in Court TV, and then we had to do mock trials. And
interesting.
So Court TV became big, right?
Yeah.
Well, now we have Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah.
And Court TV every day. And do we want to do mock trials about Donald Trump?
I do not. I mean,
and hush money and all this other stuff. So Court TV is making, what about the Johnny Depp trial?
Right.
I mean, but
Yeah.
to think that came, I mean, obviously it started in 91, but
Yeah.
in 95 is when it really took off. And now we're doing Johnny Depp trials. Now we're doing Trump trials. Like, the 90s were a pretty big reality deal.
Yeah. So I think that like that's the Court TV thing. There is just something about seeing these celebrities. I think the celebrities just have this because they're
Somebody show me a trial of 50 Cent on the stand with Diddy. That's what I want to see.
50 Cent is coming for Diddy.
Tune me in. I'll subscribe. I'll even pay for that service.
Yeah, but it's crazy. Like, so you see these celebrities and you're like, what's going to happen? Because we know, like, if they put out a movie and things like that, like, oh, they're going to make millions of dollars, whatever, their lives are kind of predictable. But when they're in a situation in a courtroom, you're like, what is this judge going to do? Does this judge like Johnny
Judge
Depp?
Ito. Do you even know who Judge Ito is?
I do. I remember him.
And why do you know Judge Ito?
Because he's...
Of Court TV.
Yes.
That's the reason why you know him. We don't know a single judge in this world.
Judge Judy.
Oh, Judge Judy.
And Judge Wapner.
Tough loss, applesauce. But we know Judge Ito.
Yeah.
Because of 94, 95.
Yeah. I wonder what he's doing nowadays, Judge Ito. Did you find out what he's doing?
I did not.
Where are they now? Where's Judge Ito now?
Look that up.
Okay.
So anyway, the next thing that we have to add to this reality revolution.
Okay.
So far we've came with 8mm camera.
Yeah.
Flip phones.
Right.
Cops.
America's Funniest Videos.
Yep. Helicopter introduction.
Right.
Court TV.
Yep.
And now, what I still watch to this day, which happens to be on LG TV and then Pluto TV. Jerry Springer, Ricky Lake. Like, remember those I mean, we had Phil Donahue and Oprah was starting to come in during that time. But come on, man. Can you not tell me that Jerry Springer and Ricky Lake, and there was another one there.
Jenny Jones.
Jenny Jones.
Yeah.
They all competed, but Jerry Springer was top. He was on another level.
I like Jerry Springer started getting weird. And then when he started getting weird, and I was like,
wait a minute, define weird.
But like the
sisters, cousins, lovers.
The episode where the guy married the horse. Yes.
That episode was actually taken off the air. It never actually made it to the air.
But like that's weird, right? And like Ricky Lake stuff, Ricky Lake was still pretty lighthearted. Like most of hers were like, "You dumped me, now look at me," and it'd be people coming out.
Yeah.
And then the guy would be like, "I still don't want you," or something, you know? And Ricky Lake would just stand there and just let like these people come out, dun, 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 like modeling and all their little outfits and stuff. And she'd be like, "So you still don't want her back?" And they'd be like, "No, I moved on." And I was like, "Dang it, you need to want her back." Because they did all this work for another person, which I think is stupid, but whatever.
Jerry Springer was must-see television. Like, I remember rushing home from whatever the hell I was doing because we had VCRs that had timers, but we didn't want to waste the tape.
Yeah.
So we would rush home and we would catch Jerry Springer, and then it got to the point where we're like, I already seen this one.
Oh, it's a rerun. I can free up an hour because this is a rerun. But Ricky Lake is a rerun.
Jerry
too.
Springer, he was a mayor, and he was originally supposed to take over for Phil Donahue.
Yeah, they look the same.
But it didn't work, right?
Okay, yeah.
So Jerry had to reinvent himself, right?
Okay.
Well, then they came up with this idea. They brought this one guy in. He was crazy. I don't even remember his name. Well, then we brought Steve. What's his name? The security guard. Now he did a spinoff on it.
Yeah.
And Steve, the bald-headed security guard. I mean, who didn't want to see Steve fight anybody? Like, that was what I was really looking for.
Chairs.
It's kind of like going to a hockey game right now. So, whenever you go to a hockey game, especially even a Mavs game, when a fight breaks out, who's the first two people to stand up?
The women.
And
the
kids. Most of the guys know that the fight isn't real, right? Or it's not going to really amount to nothing.
Yeah.
But the women, they're like, beat his, and the kids like, yeah! And then they're like, fight. And then
it is true.
And the women are
we
the
look
ones
real
that
Missouri when that all
the
happens.
women's are the hood ones that stand up thinking that there's really a fight, and the men are like, nothing's really going to become of this. Like, so, but the women, that's what really is funny to watch at hockey games.
Yeah.
And it's no different than Jerry Springer. Like, people are standing up like, fight, fight, fight. And when you look in the crowds, most of the guys are sitting down.
Yeah.
And all the women, there are no kids, but all the women are the ones standing up on yelling for the fight. So the next thing that we have, so we went through 8mm camcorders, cops, helicopter videos for the first time, court TV, Jerry Springer reality TV.
Yeah.
The next thing we have, which as a teenager, was very eye-opening for me, which was how teenagers deal with the real world after high school. And so they put The Real World, which was an MTV show.
Oh, yeah.
Put 5 or however many strangers, however they say it.
I think it was 8.
In an apartment together to start being real, right?
Grown-ups, real grown-ups.
And so you got to see different versions of what it's like, in the real world. So usually it was all different ethnicities.
Yeah.
Different,
backgrounds
beliefs,
and
different backgrounds and beliefs. Some people. There was even an episode where there was a gay person.
Yeah.
And to introduce that to one was really like historical to me.
It was,
because you got to see how people feel and how people think and what they're dealing with.
The cameras were on.
And the cameras were on 24/7.
Yeah.
And so you got to hear real conversations, and you got to hear, real perspectives from different people. And, I've even went back and watched the original Real World lately. And I think it was a great monumental thing. I think it was something that needed to be had. Yeah. But, once again, that was introduced in the 90s, and it was a reality revolution. And which...
Do you think we'd be a good reality show? Do you think we'd be boring?
I think the dogs would be the best.
Oh, you feel like our dogs would be a good
So do you remember that movie with Matthew McConaughey, Ed TV?
No, I don't think I've ever seen it.
So Ed TV was really boring.
Okay.
It was funny to me, but a lot of people probably... The theory of the show was, which had Ellen DeGeneres, she was the manager or producer.
Okay.
And Woody Harrell was Matthew McConaughey's brother. Okay. And Matthew McConaughey was Ed. And the whole story is they're just going to follow Ed around, and whatever he does is going to be televised.
Oh? Huh. No, I've never seen that.
So Ed, he falls in love with this girl. I think it was from Will and Grace. I think it was... I'm totally butchering that.
It's all right.
It was the blonde-haired girl.
It's all right.
But anyway, he falls in love, and it shows him falling in love, but he has to hide it because he doesn't want the world to see. And the girl that he falls in love with happens to be his brother's girlfriend.
Oh.
And so, but it was real, right? Mm-hmm. And so, I thought it was a brilliant movie. It was obviously done in the 90s, so it kind of made sense.
Ed TV. I'll have
Ed TV. We're gonna watch it. We're gonna watch it this week.
Okay.
So the next thing we have, which kind of was a piggyback off of the real world, was we're gonna put people together, and we're going to make games around it. So we're gonna put
strangers. Here you go. Now compete.
Strangers together, and now I want you to come together as a team or individuals, whichever you want, or alliances or whatever you want.
Yeah. And
we're going to pretend that, and whoever is the sole survivor of this will be the winner of Survivor or Big Brothers.
Yeah.
And make no mistake, I've never really gotten into the Survivor show.
I
think it's just because it's on every night. Like,
it's you got to really be able to keep up with those shows.
And I just don't have the time then. I mean, I can probably go back and watch them. I watched the very first one, but...
You know who wins, and so...
So then you get into, like, Big Brother, right?
Yeah.
So, which I've always said that I would be the master at Big Brother. Like...
I think you could still go on. We could get you an audition.
I'm
You
too
don't
old.
want to, you don't
I can't hang on to the wall anymore. There's some challenges.
anymore.
There's
Could you do it in the past?
I could have done it in the past. Well, we've already seen. I've done challenges.
Oh, right. I forgot about
Recently,
our escape room thing.
We went to the escape room deal in Overland Park, and I did
We
some
almost
of the
got
challenges. And not only did I do them, I went through them really easy.
Yeah, we almost got divorced that evening.
And so, if you want to, what was the name of that place?
Breakthrough.
Yeah, so if you want to live your best Big Brother life, go to Breakthrough. If you have a breakthrough in your city, go to Breakthrough.
Yeah.
And pretend 100%. They have like 9 games that are on Big Brother there, and I went through all the Big Brothers game with no problem.
Would you give me another chance at Breakthrough?
No,
you would not.
I can't even bleep the word that I want to say. Not only no, but no. I'm not going to give you a chance at Breakthrough. But if you want an experience of what Big Brother is like, go to Breakthrough. There's like 9 games there.
It is really fun, even if people don't want you on their teams, or they kick you off, or they quit in the middle and don't want you on their teams, or if you have to then be on a team that no one even wants you on either,
100%.
and you had to get regrouped and put on another team, and that team
You had
just
kids that
abandoned
didn't
you.
even want to play with you.
Yeah, I don't even understand. Like, I wasn't that bad. Apparently you have to follow instructions before you go into the room.
We're about to run out of time, but I'm going to tell you what it's like to play a Big Brother game with Erica. So at this Breakthrough place, you're supposed to not hit the button to play the game until after you read the directions. And
stupid rule.
And every single time Erica would hit the button and go right into the room and then look at you and go, what are we supposed to do?
Right.
Well, we're supposed to not hit the button until we read the directions, Erica. Yeah, so too late. Now what do we do? Well, we're going to try to wing it and make it the best that we can. So Erica was the worst. Like, it was like she had this feeling that she's seen this button and it was green, like go, and she's like, bam, she hit it every single time before we even got to read the directions.
Yeah,
it drove all of our team crazy, which as her husband, I tried to stand by her side, but
no, you didn't. That's a lie. That is not a fact that's being presented tonight.
In the end, I made an executive decision and said I cannot support her actions because she is not learning anything from her experience.
The worst thing was when my sister was like, it's okay.
Your own sister left your team.
She didn't leave my team.
She definitely left your team. What
happened was
your niece left your team.
But anyway, what happened was we were in this maze, and my sister said to my niece and I, there's going to be a red button. It's going to be flashing. Do not hit it. It wasn't my fault. My niece hit the button and disqualified us, not me. And then my sister didn't even want to be with us. So it was a real fun time at Breakthrough. Go spend your money there.
So
they're
on
really
top
great.
of Survivor and Big Brother, we have, Run's house.
Oh, yeah.
We have the Kardashians.
Yeah.
Like, I've never in my life watched one single episode of the Kardashians. I don't even know what their story is. I just know
they're rich.
I just know that they're really famous because of the O.J. Simpson trial.
They're rich people.
They're really famous because of the O.J. Simpson trial.
Yeah.
And I know one of them's married or was married to Kanye, and one of them's married to a basketball player that was. That
you're on a lot of different seasons. You probably need to go
relapsed.
back.
I mean, but that's all I know about them.
Yeah.
And so, but we have other reality TVs. We have
Real Housewives.
Real Housewives. Like, why in the world would ever I want to watch some rich housewives shop all day? Why?
No.
Why would I want to do that?
They go in every city. Real Housewives of Atlanta, Real Housewives of...
But there's apparently a market for it. Apparently people want to see rich housewives live their best life while they're sitting at home eating a bag of chips.
You know what my favorite reality show is, besides Big Brother? We both really do like Big Brother. But you know what one of my very favorite reality shows is? I like the house flipper shows. I know they're scripted.
They are
Most,
scripted.
but I like them, and I know it's not true
I'm
reality.
a bar rescue. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh my God,
I think
the
I've
dogs are bar rescuing
I think
now.
I've watched every. There's actually a bar rescue channel on Pluto TV that is nonstop bar rescue, so I can watch bar rescue anytime I want. And I know that if John Taffer's talking to somebody sideways, there's a pretty good chance if it isn't scripted, he's gonna get knocked out, right?
Yeah.
But I still have to watch it because him just belittling these people and saying that he's gonna leave if they don't get their shit together
Yeah.
is just, it's like everything that I want to say in real life, but I can't, right? And so, like,
You've left some pretty great reviews lately now that you're really skilled on what color the grease should be.
I am.
Yeah.
So just so you know, if you happen to get dark chicken tenders, it's because they haven't changed their grease. And if you want to leave a negative review, chicken tenders were bad. They were dark. Grease hasn't been changed, I'm sure, in 2 or 3 weeks. That's my
XOXO John Taffer.
Yeah, XOXO John Taffer. Please help them. So the last thing we have is what was also brought to our attention in the 90s. So we have 8mm camcorder, Cops, Helicopter Introduction, Court TV, Jerry Springer, Real World, Survivor, Big Brother, Kardashians. Now we end with what we would like to call fake news. Fake news. Do you remember when fake news was brought to our attention?
Yeah.
When was that?
During COVID.
Well, it was right before COVID. Is when Trump became president.
Yeah.
But yeah, fake news was became a thing.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's actually a real thing. Like now, like a lot of people don't watch certain news channels because they feel like it's staged.
Yeah.
But fake reality originally began in the 90s. Do you know what show or movie that was?
I do. It was the Blair Witch Project for $200, Alex. Oh, I mean, Chad.
Well, fake reality has been around for a long time. So fake reality is pretty much every movie you've ever seen.
Yeah.
So those are all stories, right?
Yeah.
But fake reality of whenever to portray reality and find out it's fake, that happened in the 90s. And yes, you are correct. It was the Blair Witch Project. Which, mind you, my sister-in-law made my brother and I run out to the local Walmart in the middle of the night to watch this, to grab this VHS copy of this movie. And we sat at home and we watched it. I'll be honest with you, I fell asleep within the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, I don't like it.
And but what I didn't know is that it only cost $60,000 to make this movie.
I knew it was really cheap. I mean, you run around with some camcorders, Chad.
It cost $60,000 to make this movie. They hired some actors and said, "Hey, we're just going to go out in the woods. We're going to scare you. Pretend like you're scared. We're going to catch it on footage, and that'll
be it.
We'll see you.
That's a wrap.
Pretty much." And so that's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
Do you know how much money that movie made?
Lots.
For being as dumb as it was.
I know it made lots. I didn't like it, but I know it made lots of money.
It made the most profitable, keywords, profitable money ever made in the history of movies.
Profitable movie ever made?
Profitable movie.
Yeah.
Do you know what that was?
No.
$250 million.
Gosh, that's so ridiculous. The movie was nothing. Like, I could chase you. I have a camcorder, an old camcorder. Why don't you go run around in the backyard? I'll scare you.
Well, that was before OnlyFans. I'm sure that's changed since then. I'm sure there's a lot more. I'm sure there's a lot more profitable movies. But no, for real. Like, it made $250 million. And they only invested $60 million.
Crazy.
Or 60,000, sorry. So you literally made almost $259 million.
I bet that 60,000. I bet that was lodging. Most all of it was lodging for people. You know what I mean? Like the traveling and
Yes, it was definitely expenses. Expenses only because they didn't charge themselves to edit. They didn't charge themselves to produce it.
Yeah.
There was no actors that were paid a bunch of money because they were just nobodies. And,
so
you know, maybe some materials for the stuff that was hanging in the trees. But yes, like I said, fact check me if you want.
Okay.
It was one of the most profitable movies of all time.
That's crazy.
That's at $250 million, and they only spent $60,000.
That's so crazy.
So, well, we hope that this was informative.
This was real news.
This was
real
actually
facts.
real facts presented. You know, I actually have one more of these episodes in mind.
Oh.
I'm not just going to stick to opinionated and storytelling, but I like to be able to provide some factual information based off of our genre and our generation.
Look at you being giving back and educating the middle-aged people of this world, Chad.
Well,
Look at you.
Figure there's a time and place for everything and everyone.
Oh,
so
okay.
This happens to be that time and place.
I like it.
So hopefully we've all learned to assist people that are in dark moments, to stop making an ass of ourselves and assuming things that they don't know anything about, and then also knowing the facts about the 90s and the reality revolution.
And one thing that I teach you all the time, we talk about all the time, it doesn't cost anything to be kind.
All right. So as they would say in the 90s, be kind and rewind. And until then, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
See ya.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode of Middle Age Moments. Visit middleagemoments.com for previous and future episodes. Until next time.